The stars outside the colony ship, Nova Dawn, looked cold and distant as it drifted through empty space. Commander Eliza Donovan stared at the ship's damaged engines on her screen. Her face was tired, but her eyes stayed sharp. 3 days had passed since the asteroid field had torn through their main propulsion system. "Damage report, Officer Jones," she said, her voice steady despite the fear in her stomach. "Not good, Commander. Engines are beyond repair with what we have. Life support is stable, but we're running on backup power. We have maybe 6 weeks before critical systems start failing," Jones replied. Eliza looked around at her bridge crew. They were all waiting for her decision. The ship carried 1,500 colonists, most of them sleeping in cryopods, dreaming of their new home. A home they might never reach now. "We're in Kradeshi territory," said her first officer, Alan West. "If we send a distress signal, they'll be the first to answer." Everyone knew what that meant. The Kradeshi were not known for their kindness. In the 10 years since humans had entered deep space, the tall, armored aliens had shown only hostility. Their ships attacked human vessels without warning. Their soldiers took prisoners for reasons no one understood. "We have no choice," Eliza said. "We send the signal. Earth might hear it too." Officer West nodded and set up the emergency beacon. The ship's computer began sending the same message over and over. "This is colony ship Nova Dawn. Critical engine failure. 1,500 souls aboard. Requesting immediate assistance." The message raced through space at light speed, reaching in all directions. It would take days to reach Earth, but it might reach other ears sooner. Fleet Admiral Paul Winters sat in his office at Space Command Headquarters in Houston. The walls were covered with medals and pictures from his 30 years of service. He was reviewing crew assignments when his assistant knocked on the door. "Sir, urgent message from Deep Space Monitoring," she said. The Admiral took the data pad and read the message. His face grew darker with each word. "How long ago was this received?" he asked. 4 hours ago, sir. It took that long for the signal to be verified and routed through proper channels." Admiral Winters stood up and walked to the window. The massive space elevator that connected Earth to the orbital stations was visible in the distance. "The Nova Dawn is in Sector 47, he said. "That's deep in Kradeshi territory. A standard rescue mission would be." "Suicide, sir," his assistant finished. "Yes, suicide." The Admiral turned around. "Get me access to the sealed files. Authorization Omega-9. His assistant looked surprised. "Sir, those files are classified beyond my clearance." "Then get me someone with the right clearance. Now." 20 minutes later, the Admiral sat alone in a secure room, looking at a screen that displayed a list of names. Each name had a file attached. Each file contained information that would make most people lose sleep. These were the deadliest humans alive. Soldiers, hunters, survivors. People who had looked death in the face and walked away. People who had killed, and would kill again if necessary. The Admiral entered a command, and the computer began sending a message to each person on the list. The message was simple: "Your species needs you. No expected survivors. Volunteers only." Then he waited. He knew some would ignore the call. Some would be unable to respond. But he also knew that some would answer. Because that's what humans did when other humans were in danger. They answered the call. The first response came within an hour. It was from Kate Lawson, former Marine sniper, now living in Alaska. Her message was just 2 words: "I'm in." More replies followed. Derek Russell, "On my way." Dr. Helen Morris, "Sending my coordinates." Victor Ramirez, "Tell me where to go." Jason Blackwood, "Yes." Admiral Winters looked at the responses and nodded. Then he opened a secure line to the experimental ship dock in orbit. "Prepare the Vengeance for immediate launch," he ordered. "And may God help us all." Kate Lawson crouched in the Alaskan snow, her rifle steady against her shoulder. Through her scope, she watched a moose drinking from a half-frozen lake. Her finger rested lightly on the trigger. She didn't need the meat, but she liked to keep her skills sharp. Before she could take the shot, her communication device buzzed in her pocket. Only 3 people had this number. She lowered her rifle and pulled out the device. The message was short but clear. Your species needs you. No expected survivors. Volunteers only. Kate closed her eyes. She knew what this meant. Years ago, she had signed a special agreement with Space Command. They would leave her alone to live her life unless something truly terrible happened. Something that required her particular skills. She sent back 2 words. I'm in. Then she packed her rifle and headed back to her cabin to get ready. Derek Russell was hip-deep in engine parts when his old military communicator lit up for the first time in 5 years. He wiped grease from his hands and read the message. His hands began to shake slightly. Derek had survived longer than anyone in history on a station overrun with Kradeshi scouts. 3 months of hiding, scavenging, and occasionally killing when he had no choice. When they finally rescued him, the military psychologists couldn't understand how he was still sane. He knew why they were calling him now. Someone needed his skills. Someone needed to survive the impossible. On my way, he replied, already mentally cataloging the tools and weapons he would need. Dr. Helen Morris stared at the message on her secure terminal. Around her lab were cages containing various alien specimens, all safely contained, all carefully studied. During the First Contact War, Helen had created weapons that targeted specific weaknesses in alien biology. Some called her work unethical. She called it necessary. She looked at a locked cabinet in the corner of her lab. Inside were formulas that had never been used, things too dangerous even for war. Sending my coordinates, she typed back. Then she opened the cabinet and began packing. In a small apartment in Mexico City, Victor Ramirez woke up from another nightmare about the Kradeshi prison ship. His body was covered in sweat, and the scars on his back, left by alien torture devices, burned with phantom pain. 3 years ago, he had become the only human to ever escape from Kradeshi captivity. He had blown up half the ship to do it. When the message arrived, Victor felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. He touched the scars on his face, remembering the aliens who had put them there. "Tell me where to go," he replied. Then he moved to the closet where he kept his specially designed explosives. Jason Blackwood sat perfectly still in a meditation pose when the alert came through. The cybernetic implants in his eyes allowed him to read the message without moving. Jason had been disavowed by his government after an unauthorized rescue mission that saved 30 hostages but caused an interstellar incident. Now he worked alone, taking jobs that required his unique abilities to move unseen and strike without sound. Yes, he sent back. Nothing more was needed. 48 hours later, all 5 of them stood in a secure briefing room at Space Command headquarters. They did not shake hands. They did not exchange pleasantries. Each recognized in the others a similar quality. They were predators, survivors, killers. Admiral Winters entered the room and looked at them one by one. "Thank you for coming," he said. "The colony ship Nova Dawn is stranded in Kradeshi space with 1,500 civilians on board. Standard military protocol would be to consider them lost." "But you're not following standard protocol," Kate said. It wasn't a question. "No, we're sending you." The Admiral pressed a button, and a hologram appeared, a sleek black ship unlike any they had seen before. "This is the Vengeance. Experimental stealth frigate. Fastest engines we have. Best weapons we can provide." "Who's the captain?" Derek asked. The door opened, and a tall man with gray hair and a scared face walked in. "I am," he said, "Captain Gregory Mitchell. I'll be taking you into hell, and I don't expect any of us to come back. Any questions?" Victor smiled, showing teeth. "When do we leave?" "Now," Captain Mitchell replied. "The Kradeshi move fast. We need to move faster." The deadliest humans on Earth nodded in agreement. The hunt was on. The Vengeance moved through space like a black shadow. Its special hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making it nearly invisible against the darkness of space. Inside, the 5 specialists explored their new home, while Captain Mitchell prepared for launch. Kate walked through the weapons room, running her fingers over the racks of guns, knives, and explosives. She picked up a sniper rifle that was lighter and more advanced than anything she had used before. "Military prototype," said a voice behind her. Victor Ramirez stood in the doorway, his eyes on the explosives section. "They gave us the good stuff. They don't expect us to bring it back," Kate replied. Victor nodded and moved to examine the explosives. "These could blow a hole in a Kraideshi warship," he said with respect in his voice. In another part of the ship, Derek studied the engine room. The technology was like nothing he had ever seen, more advanced than any human ship should have. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Captain Mitchell said, entering the room. "Reverse engineered from Kraideshi tech we salvage. This ship can match their speed, but not their firepower," Derek guessed. "No, we're not meant to fight them head-on. We're a ghost ship. Get in, get our people, get out." Derek looked at the captain's scared face. "You've fought them before." "Border conflicts. Lost my first ship to them. Lost most of my crew." The captain's eyes were hard. "That's why I volunteered for this. Unfinished business." In the ship's small lab, Dr. Morris unpacked her equipment. She had brought samples of her most effective bioweapons, things that could target Kraideshi biology specifically. Jason Blackwood appeared silently at the door, watching her. His cybernetic eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "Those won't work," he said. Dr. Morris looked up. "What do you mean?" "The Kraideshi have adapted. The ones I encountered last year had different respirators. They're learning from each encounter with us." Dr. Morris frowned. "Then I'll need to create something new. I'll need samples." Jason nodded. "I'll get them for you." 6 hours after leaving Earth, the team gathered in the briefing room. A hologram of the Nova Dawn rotated slowly above the table. "We'll reach the colony ship in 3 days," Captain Mitchell explained. "Our intel suggests the Kraideshi haven't found it yet, but that could change any minute." "What's the plan once we reach it?" Kate asked. "We dock here." Mitchell pointed to an emergency airlock. "We transfer the colonists to our ship. It will be tight, but we can fit them if we use the cargo holds." Victor laughed without humor. "And the Kraideshi will just watch us do this." "We'll have about 4 hours before their patrol ships detect us," Mitchell said. "If they arrive before we're done, we fight." Derek looked concerned. "Captain, there are 1,500 colonists, most of them in cryo-sleep. 4 hours isn't enough time to move them all." The room went quiet. Everyone understood what wasn't being said. They might not be able to save everyone. "We save as many as we can," Mitchell finally said. "That's the mission." Jason, who had been standing in the corner, spoke up. "There's another option. We rig the Nova Dawn with Victor's explosives. Turn it into a weapon. Use it to buy us more time." Kate looked at him. "With people still on board?" "If necessary," Jason said, his voice emotionless. "This is a war." "No," Kate stood up. "We're not sacrificing colonists. That's not why I came." Victor nodded in agreement. "We find another way." Captain Mitchell watched the argument unfold. These were all killers, all survivors, but they each had their own code, their own lines they wouldn't cross. "We'll discuss options when we see the situation," Mitchell said, ending the debate. "For now, prepare yourselves. Check your gear. Rest while you can." As the meeting ended, the team members went their separate ways. Each carried their own thoughts, their own fears. But they all felt the same thing. Time was running out for the Nova Dawn and its 1,500 souls. In the quiet of her assigned quarters, Kate cleaned her new rifle and thought about the mission ahead. The odds were terrible. Survival unlikely. But that had never stopped her before. In 3 days, they would reach the colony ship. In 3 days, they would face the enemy. And some of them, maybe all of them, would die. Kate smiled grimly as she assembled her weapon. At least, they would make it count. "We're coming out of stealth approach," Captain Mitchell announced as the Vengeance slowed near the Nova Dawn's last known coordinates. "Sensors active in 3, 2, 1. The main screen lit up, showing the colony ship floating in the emptiness of space, but it wasn't alone. "Kradeshi scout ship," Derek said, his voice tight. "They've already found them." The alien vessel was attached to the Nova Dawn at a docking port. It was smaller than a warship but still dangerous, sleek and predatory with weapons that could tear through the Vengeance's hull. "They haven't seen us yet," Captain Mitchell said. "Our stealth systems are still working." Kate studied the enemy ship through the screen. "How many Kradeshi on a scout ship?" "Standard crew is 12, Jason answered. "All warriors." Victor cracked his knuckles. 12 against 5. I like those odds." "Don't get cocky," Captain Mitchell warned. "One Kradeshi is worth 3 human soldiers in hand-to-hand combat." Dr. Morris joined them on the bridge, carrying a case of injectors. "These might help even the odds," she said. "A new compound based on Jason's intel. It should slow their reaction time, maybe weaken their armor plates." "How do we deliver it?" Kate asked. "Dart guns, or direct injection if you get close enough." Captain Mitchell nodded. "Good. Derek, you'll lead the first boarding team. Kate, find a position to provide cover fire. Victor, set explosives at key points to cut off their retreat. Jason." He looked around. "Where's Jason?" The stealth operative was already gone. "He moves on his own," Kate said. "He'll be there when we need him." 30 minutes later, Derek led Kate and Victor through a maintenance airlock into the Nova Dawn. They moved silently through dark corridors, their weapons ready. "Life support is still running," Derek whispered, checking a wall panel. "But power is low." Kate touched her earpiece. "Captain, we're in. No sign of colonists or Kradeshi yet. They'll be in the central sections," Captain Mitchell's voice replied. "The cryo chambers are there. Be careful." They turned a corner and froze. 20 feet ahead stood a Kradeshi warrior. It was even more intimidating in person, nearly 8 feet tall with gray-green skin covered in natural armor plates. Its 4 arms each ended in clawed hands, and its face was a nightmare of sharp teeth and multiple eyes. The alien hadn't seen them yet. It was examining something on the wall. Kate raised her rifle, looking through the scope. The alien's head was in her crosshairs. One shot would. The Kradeshi suddenly turned, sensing something. It saw them, and opened its mouth in what might have been a roar or a call for help. Kate fired. The shot hit perfectly between the alien's upper eyes. It dropped without a sound. "They know we're here now," Victor said, moving forward. 4 more Kradeshi appeared from a side corridor. They saw their fallen comrade and charged, their claws extended. Kate fired again, dropping another one. Victor threw a small explosive that sent a 3rd alien flying backward. The last 2 kept coming. Derek fired his weapon, a special shotgun loaded with armor-piercing rounds. One of the charging aliens stumbled. The other reached them, swinging its massive arms. Kate ducked under the attack and jabbed one of Dr. Morris's injectors into the alien's leg. The effect was immediate. The Kradeshi slowed, its movements becoming clumsy. Derek finished it with a shot to the head. 5 down, Victor said, breathing hard. 7 to go. From somewhere deeper in the ship, they heard human screams. "The colonists," Kate said. "They're awake." Derek checked his tablet, which showed a map of the ship, this way to the cryo chambers. As they moved deeper into the ship, they found signs of the Kradeshi presence, broken equipment, strange markings on walls, and worse, blood, human blood. "They're collecting samples," Derek said, pointing to medical equipment the aliens had set up. "Taking blood, tissue, bone marrow." "Why?" Kate asked. Before Derek could answer, Jason's voice came through their earpieces. "I'm in the ventilation system above the main cryo chamber," he said. "The Kradeshi are removing colonists from cryo sleep. They're scanning them, taking samples, then putting them back. They seem to be looking for something specific. How many colonists are awake? Captain Mitchell asked over the comm. About 50, Jason replied. The rest are still frozen. Commander Donovan is alive. She's on the bridge with some of her officers. They're surrounded by 3 Kraydashi warriors. We'll get to the bridge, Kate said. Jason, can you help the awake colonists? Negative. Too many aliens between me and them. I'll keep watching. Kate looked at Derek and Victor. Let's move. Bridge first. Then we figure out how to save the colonists. The bridge of the Nova Dawn was eerily quiet when Kate, Derek, and Victor reached it. They peered through a small window in the door. Inside, they could see 3 Kraydashi warriors standing over a group of humans in uniform. Commander Eliza Donovan was easy to spot with her captain's insignia. I count 3 aliens, 6 humans, Kate whispered. I can take out 2 of the aliens quickly, but the 3rd will have time to react. Victor pulled out one of his special grenades. This will stun the 3rd one. Non-lethal. Won't hurt the humans. Derek nodded. On 3. 1, 2. They burst through the door. Kate's rifle fired twice in rapid succession, dropping 2 Kraydashi with perfect headshots. Victor's grenade landed at the feet of the 3rd alien, exploding in a flash of light. The stunned Kraydashi stumbled, and Derek finished it with a shot to the head. Commander Donovan stood up, her face showing both relief and suspicion. Who are you? Rescue team from Earth, Derek said. Fleet Admiral Winters sent us. Donovan looked at their weapons, at the dead aliens. You're not regular military. No, Kate agreed. We're not. One of the bridge officers spoke up. Commander, we should trust them. They just saved our lives. Donovan nodded slowly. Thank you. But there are 1,500 colonists on this ship. How do you plan to evacuate all of us? Captain Mitchell's voice came through their communication devices. Commander Donovan, this is Captain Mitchell of the stealth frigate Vengeance. We need to talk about the evacuation plan. Kate handed her earpiece to Donovan, who listened carefully as Mitchell explained the situation. That's not enough time, she finally said. Most of our colonists are in cryopods spread throughout the ship. It would take days to move them all manually. Victor was examining a terminal. What about the ship's internal transport system? These colony ships have automated rails for moving cargo. Could we use that to move the cryopods to the cargo bay? Donovan looked surprised. Yes, that might work, but someone would need to override the central computer. It's been locked down since the Kraydashi arrived. The main computer core is in a heavily guarded section of the ship. How heavily guarded? Derek asked. At least 4 Kraydashi warriors. They set up some kind of research station there. Kate's communication device buzzed. Kate, this is Jason. I found something you need to see. Tech 4, Section C, Lab 7. Copy that, Kate replied. She turned to the others. Derek, help Commander Donovan set up the transport system. Victor, start rigging explosives to slow down any Kraydashi reinforcements. I'll check in with Jason. Lab 7 was a small research room that the Kraydashi had converted into what looked like a medical facility. Jason was examining vials of blood and tissue samples when Kate arrived. What did you find? She asked. Jason pointed to a screen showing DNA sequences. They're testing the colonists for genetic markers, looking for something specific. What are they looking for? I'm not sure, but look at this. Jason showed her another screen with alien text. I've been learning their language. This talks about a cure and salvation. And here, he pointed to another section. It mentions a plague affecting their homeworld. Kate's eyes widened. They're looking for something in our DNA that could cure their people. Yes, but they're being selective. They're only taking what they need, not killing everyone. That's not typical Kraydashi behavior. Does it matter? They're still kidnapping and experimenting on humans. It matters, Jason said calmly. It means they're desperate. Desperate enemies make mistakes. Kate's device buzzed again. It was Captain Mitchell. "We have a problem," he said. "Long-range sensors show a Kradeshi warship heading this way. ETA 4 hours. We need to speed up the evacuation." "Captain," Kate replied, "we've discovered why the Kradeshi are here. They're looking for a cure to some kind of plague. They're searching through human DNA." There was a pause. "That explains a lot, but it doesn't change our mission. Get the colonists out. Now." "Yes, sir," Kate said. As she and Jason left the lab, a new message came through, from Victor. "We've got company," he said, his voice tight. "The rest of the scout ship crew just returned. They know we're here, and they look angry." "The computer core is our priority," Kate said as she and Jason ran through the ship's corridors. "Without it, we can't move the cryopods." They met Derek and Victor at an intersection. All around them, alarms blared as the Nova Dawn systems detected the approaching Kradeshi warship. "Captain Mitchell just contacted me," Derek said. "He's coming aboard to help. Dr. Morris is staying on the Vengeance to prepare it for the colonists." Victor checked his explosive charges. "I set traps in the main corridors. That should slow down the Kradeshi reinforcements." "Good," Kate nodded. "Now we need to get to the computer core." The four of them moved toward the ship's center where the main computer was housed. They could hear Kradeshi voices ahead, strange, clicking sounds that sent chills down their spines. "4 of them, just like Commander Donovan said," Jason whispered, peering around a corner. "Guarding the computer room." Kate readied her rifle. "I'll take the 2 on the left. Victor, use a stun grenade on the right. Derek and Jason, finish them off." The plan worked perfectly, almost. Kate's shots dropped 2 Kradeshi instantly. Victor's grenade stunned the 3rd. Derek killed the stunned alien with his shotgun. But the 4th Kradeshi, larger than the others, charged through the explosion straight toward them. Jason stepped forward, moving with inhuman speed thanks to his cybernetic enhancements. He dodged the alien's first swing and drove a knife into a gap in its armor. The Kradeshi roared but didn't fall. It grabbed Jason with 2 of its arms while the other 2 reached for weapons. Kate fired, hitting the alien's shoulder. It stumbled but kept its grip on Jason. Victor threw another explosive, but the alien kicked it away. Derek rushed forward and jammed one of Dr. Morris's injectors directly into the Kradeshi's neck. The alien froze, its muscles locking up. Jason broke free and finished it with a knife to the throat. "Everyone okay?" Kate asked. They nodded, catching their breath. "Let's get this computer working," Derek said, moving to the main console. As Derek worked on the computer, Captain Mitchell arrived with news. "The Kradeshi warship will be here in 3 hours," he said grimly. "And there's more bad news. The Vengeance can't hold all the colonists. Even with the cargo holds, we can only take about 700. Kate felt her heart sink. "Less than half. What about the rest?" Captain Mitchell's face was hard. "I've been thinking about that. The Vengeance has advanced weapons. If I set it on a collision course with the Kradeshi warship, it could buy more time for another solution." "That's suicide," Victor said. "Yes." Mitchell nodded. "But it might save more lives in the end." Before they could argue, Derek shouted from the computer console. "I've got it. The transport system is online. We can start moving cryopods to the cargo bay." "Good work," Mitchell said. "Start with the pods closest to the cargo bay. Every minute counts." As they began the evacuation process, a new alarm sounded. On a screen, they watched as a massive Kradeshi warship emerged from light speed near the Nova Dawn. "They're early," Mitchell said, his voice tight. "We're out of time." The warship docked with the colony ship, connecting with a loud metallic clang that echoed through the halls. "They're boarding," Jason said, checking the security feed. "At least 30 warriors, maybe more." Victor looked at his remaining explosives. "I can slow them down, but not stop that many." Kate made a quick decision. "Captain, Get back to the Vengeance. Prepare it for your plan. Derek, keep working on moving those pods. Victor, set your traps. Jason, you're with me. We need to find Commander Donovan. As they split up, Kate heard heavy footsteps coming from multiple directions. The ship was being overrun. Captain Mitchell grabbed her arm before leaving. If my plan works, the explosion will give you a chance to find another way out. Maybe there's a second ship or escape pods. Don't give up. Kate nodded. Good luck, Captain. See you in the next life. Mitchell replied with a grim smile, then headed back toward the Vengeance. The last stand had begun, and Kate knew that not everyone would survive the next few hours. But she was determined to save as many colonists as possible, no matter the cost. Kate and Jason found Commander Donovan, helping evacuate awake colonists toward the cargo bay. Explosions echoed through the ship as Victor's traps slowed the advancing Kraidishi warriors. Commander, Kate said urgently, we need another way out. The Vengeance can't hold everyone. Donovan looked grim. Our escape pods were damaged in the asteroid field. That's why we sent the distress signal. Jason, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. There's another ship. Both women turned to him. The Kraideshi have a second ship docked on the far side of the Nova Dawn, Jason explained. I saw it through the ventilation system. It's smaller than their warship but bigger than the scout ship. It could hold the remaining colonists. Hope flashed in Donovan's eyes. Can we get to it? Yes, Jason nodded, but we'll need to fight our way there. Kate's comm device buzzed. It was Derek. Kate, we've moved about 500 cryopods to the cargo bay. Dr. Morris is loading them onto the Vengeance, but we've got company. Lots of company. Hold them off, Kate ordered. We have a new plan. She quickly explained about the second Kraideshi ship. Derek agreed to keep the transport system running while fighting off the aliens. Kate turned to Commander Donovan. Get your people ready to move to the second ship. Jason will lead the way. What about you? Donovan asked. Kate checked her rifle. Someone needs to buy you time. Kate found Victor setting up his last explosive trap. When she told him the plan, he grinned. A last stand. Just what I signed up for. Together, they created a killing zone in the main corridor. Kate positioned herself at one end with clear sight lines. Victor rigged the area with his remaining explosives. Wish we had more ammo, Victor muttered. Make every shot count, Kate replied. The first wave of Kraidishi warriors came around the corner. Kate fired, dropping 3 with headshots before they could react. Victor triggered an explosive that took out 2 more. But more aliens kept coming. On the bridge, Derek struggled to keep the transport system running. The computer was damaged and cryopods were moving slowly. Through the ship's cameras, he watched Kate and Victor holding off waves of Kraidishi warriors. His comm device crackled. This is Captain Mitchell. The Vengeance is loaded with 650 colonists. I'm preparing to launch. Understood, Captain, Derek replied. Good luck. He watched as the sleek black ship detached from the Nova Dawn and moved toward the Kraideshi warship. The alien vessel began firing. But the Vengeance was too fast, too agile. It dodged the plasma blasts and accelerated directly toward the larger ship. The explosion was blinding. The Kraideshi warship broke into pieces, creating a fiery barrier between the Nova Dawn and any further reinforcements. Captain Mitchell had completed his final mission. Jason led Commander Donovan and nearly 800 remaining colonists through maintenance tunnels toward the second Kraideshi ship. When they reached it, Jason quickly bypassed the alien security systems. Their technology isn't that different from ours, he explained as the ship's door opened. Inside, the alien vessel was strange but workable. Jason went straight to the controls. I can fly this, he said. Get everyone aboard. Kate and Victor were running out of ammunition. The corridor was littered with Kraideshi bodies, but more kept coming. Kate had been hit in the shoulder by a plasma blast. Victor was bleeding from multiple cuts. We can't hold much longer, Victor said, firing his last explosive. Kate's comm device buzzed. It was Jason. "We've got the ship. Almost everyone is aboard. Can you make it to us?" Kate looked at the advancing aliens, then at her nearly empty rifle. "Negative. We're pinned down. Just go. Get them to safety." There was a pause. "Understood. It's been an honor." "Likewise," Kate replied. She turned to Victor. "Ready for one last fight?" Victor nodded, pulling out a knife. "Always." As they prepared for their final stand, a tall Kradeshi in ornate armor stepped forward. Unlike the others, this one raised a hand, signaling the warriors to stop. "You fight well, humans," it said in broken English. "Why do you sacrifice yourselves for others?" Kate kept her rifle aimed at the alien leader. "Because that's what humans do." The Kradeshi studied her for a long moment. "We seek only cure for our dying people, not war." "You could have asked," Victor said, "instead of kidnapping." The alien made a gesture that might have been regret. Previous attempts at communication failed. Now too late. Too much blood. Kate felt the ship shudder as the stolen Kradeshi vessel detached. Jason, Derek, and the colonists were escaping. Their mission was successful. The Kradeshi leader seemed to know it too. "Your friends escape, but you remain." "That was the plan," Kate said calmly.